I'm starting a little early tonight just because I've got everything set up and there's like 5 or 6 things that I want to do tonight, so I figured I'll just stay on my live while I do them. Let's see, here we go. Alright, pause that. Okay, so I should be able to see if there are any comments. I think I've got it on the right page. So the first one I'm going to do is for the monthly transfer, for the club transfer, the exclusive one. I'm going to start and put some arrows on this first so that way it can dry while I'm doing other stuff. Once it dries, I'm going to add the Live the Life You Have Imagined on top of it. So I'm starting by doing that one first. And I'm just using an old washcloth to fuzz up the transfer. I've already used it several times, so it doesn't take a lot of fuzzing. Okay, I'm going to try to get it centered with the line on the back. Okay. It's a little difficult because it's round. And if it doesn't stick the way you want, just lift it back up and stick it back down again. I got like a little bubble on it, so I'm just going to lift it up and stick it down. That's just because the surface is curved. Just make sure I rub any other bubbles that are sticking in there because the arrows are nice and fine. Well, let's see. And I've got the metal can, so I do kind of want it to stand out. I want the letters to be dark on top of the arrows. So I think I'm going to use my peach just because I'm favorable to peach and probably put maybe purple on top of it. Okay. Start off with a little water because this is the old paste formula one. And stir it up to make sure it's the consistency of yogurt. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in this tin yet. I might put flowers in it, so I use it as a display piece. And when you're doing something like this, it's just you just gotta carefully hold it as you do it, and then carefully pull the transfer off. It just depends on how big the item is. This itself is, because it's got the inside, if it was more closed at the top, it'd be harder to hold on to, but it doesn't seem to be so far. I just want these to be like nice little faded arrows. I guess I could probably already do a second wave of the arrows around the back side. But you're pretty much only going to see the front of this. So I'm not too worried about it. If I wanted it to be permanent, I would do it in ink. I'm just doing it in chalk paste. This is the same one that the other night I had put the little horse one with the farmer's market on red ink. I didn't like that the red ink, I didn't think it stood out enough. Not like the black ink did on the lantern where it really stands out. So I wiped that off. It was really easy to wipe off. It was easier to wipe off on the metal than it was the chalkboard actually. Oh, let's see. Oh, hey Melissa. I went early with my live tonight just because I kept pulling things out that I wanted to do, being that I went to the dollar store and spent a fortune. So now I got all these different little projects that I want to work on. At least I can go back to the dollar store and get some more stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up the arrows. Good. And I'm just putting it in my water basin. It'll help the chalk paste loosen up, and probably by the time I'm done with everything I want to do tonight, it's probably going to be pretty clean. I just wipe it off. So this is just some just faint arrows. I'm going to put it to the side and let it dry while I'm doing the rest of the live. And then I'm going to come back and put wording on top of it at the end. Okay. I'm going to set it back there. Okay. Put that one there because that's the one that I'm going to add to the top of it. Okay. And spray a little water in. If you do, for some reason, get some of the old paste, just spray a little water in it. Distilled water. Bottled water is okay. Before you put it away. That way the next time you go to use it, if anything does dry up in it a lot, it's just going to be the little bit of water that you added to the top. It's kind of like a decoy for the air. So, okay. I was going to do for my lantern, they have little pendants that are like banners that you can put little sayings on and, you know, spell out things like congratulations or birthday and stuff like that. They also have little sayings like this that you can intermix in them. So like best family ever, great job, congrats. You know, that's kind of like a graduation one. Number one mom, number one dad. And I'm going to cut these up because it's a size transfer, but again, it's 5 transfers in one. So they're smaller than the 5x7 size. And let's see. And I'm trying to stick to the little white lines that are on here. It's actually a break in the silk screen. As long as you can stick to the lines, you shouldn't get any, would look like fraying on the outside of it, on the edge. That's just because the entire thing has silk screen running through it. But if you do get a little sticking off the edge or something, just trim it up. Just like you would do with anything else that frays, just trim up the edge. Okay, so I'm going to do another lantern. So I've got my one that has the farm. And this one, I'll do, let's see. I think I'll do the best family ever one. See how that comes out. I'm trying to figure out what color I want to use. A darker color probably is going to stand out more. And I'm just guessing at centering it. If you want to get really specific, you can get the ruler out and measure it and make sure it's perfectly centered. Just depends on what you want. And I want it to be a little bit down because of the lip on the lantern. And I think I'll use my raspberry because I think that'll stand out enough. It's not super dark or anything. It's like a medium kind of color. And one of the colors in the medium range. Not too light, not too dark. And just making sure it's a good consistency because it's the old formula. I think what I'm going to do is once all the new formula is out, if anybody wants any of the old paste formula, I'll probably give like a discount on it because it's the leftover formula. We'll have to see though. So I might just, you know, maybe give away like my used jars or something because they've already been used and I do want the new paste formula. Okay. I'm going to use my little half. So the mini squeegees, I'll often cut them in half to make half the size. There's also the multi-tool, which is designed for stirring up the jars on the one end, and the other end is like half the size of a mini squeegee. So it's basically the same thing as cutting a mini in half. On this one, I don't know, I like that. Yeah, actually it might be easier to use this one just so I can get a good grip on it. And I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing. Keep messing around with the camera angle. So I'm just putting it on thick and then going back over it and pulling off any excess. So basically want to cover up what the transfer says and then scrape off the excess so that you can see what it says. That was all set. And pull it off. Try to pull it evenly. The little ones, it doesn't really matter too much because they're so small. You really don't have a way other than to pull them up evenly. But the bigger transfers, you want to try to do evenly. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's nice and pink. And I could actually go all the way around and use, you know, 4 different sides if I want. I'll have to decide if I want to do more on that one. Because I have some ones like the farmer's market one I could just like take the letters off and just do the horse. He's a cute little horsey. Okay. Well, I just pulled out tons of things that I wanted to play with tonight. And I forgot to spray it with my water before I close it, just in case I'm not using this color again tonight. And, okay. I am going to do the Farmer's Market one again because I want to do it on the white background. See if I can see it well. And for the white backgrounds, I have little hearts, which are reusable surfaces, little hearts, and then just plain circles. And of course, you can always put a little hole in them and hang them up, display them, whatever you want. I do have little bunny ears things I think I'm going to try. They're actually designed for holding like computer wires and stuff when you get so many of them when you're at your desktop. Anybody that has a desktop, but especially at work. So I'm going to reach over and grab some of these. So I got them to try to kind of help organize all the wires I have, because then I have a charging cord for my Fire tablet and then my cell phone, and just it's tons. Working remotely, I have a lot more stuff that's plugged in. These are actually, so they're little silicone. They're actually little bunny ears. So you like put the wire in there and it holds it in place, and it's got a little sticky on the bottom so you can like stick it. So you get all these cords all over the place. But I'm wondering if I can stick this in there. And I can. So it's an easy way to, it'll be an easy way to display them if I want, because I have ones right now where they fall down when I'm sitting them on things because I don't really have anything to stand it up with. But like I've got this little hooks, and there's all different colors. So I think I'll actually will be able to use that. We'll see if it stands up or if anything. I'm just seeing if I can make it knock over, but it seems like it's okay. The Farmer's Market one I'm going to do in green. And there's a whole set of Farmer's Market themed ones that there's 12 of them, so it's a B-size transfer, but it's got the 12 cut-ups in it. With that, they're all Farmer's Market themed. They're like fresh eggs, locally grown, things like that. It's really cute. Okay. And I'm going to use my smaller one because I already dirtied up my tool. And of course you can use different colors. You don't have to stick with just one color. Put it on thick, scrape it up. So I'll show you. Just for anybody that hasn't seen it before. So put it on thick, and then I'm scraping it up. So at first you couldn't see the farmers, then you can. At the bottom it says there's a horse, in the middle it says market. As I scrape it up, you'll start to see the word market appear. So you just want to get it so that you can see what's underneath. And when you're doing that, you can also go over and say, oops, I didn't get the horse's tail, or the A is missing a little spot. It's a good double check before you pull it up. There we go. Did get some on my finger, and then my finger got a little bit on the board, but I'll just take a little drop of water and wipe it right off. It's off. It's a cute little one. So I'll be able to stick that in my little bunny things. I'll have to take a look and see if I can get some more of those. I thought when I pulled them out that it might work, and I'm glad it does. Get a little extra water in. And once I get done using these, I'm just tossing them in my water basin. Just loosens up the chalk paste on them. I still haven't found anything to organize my paste in, but I do have the glitter shimmer ones that sparkle off to the sides. I keep getting them mixed up with those. Now, one of the ones that I was dying to do, and it sold out so fast when it came out, I couldn't get it, but it is back, and it might have sold out again. But it's a little heart that says love you, obviously, and the heart has got like these little bursts that come out the side, which I really like. But you could also, I could tape off the love you, And I could do that just to show you how to tape it off. Grab I just use painter's tape on it, which I've got right over here to the side, but it's a little far for me to reach. So don't use like the Scotch masking tape, but you can use, you know, the clear stuff that everybody normally uses. Use something like painter's tape. Frog tape is painter's tape. Little Wasabi's tape. Sometimes those little craft type ones are easier to use because they're half the thickness of this. Oops. Because they're half the thickness, so they're easier to cover up things up. And it would help if I took the transfer out. Oh, my laptop. My laptop has been giving me a little trouble lately. Not just the battery, but different websites. And Facebook in particular. I don't know if Facebook did something. It's become a pain. Okay, so there we go. All right. Let's take it out of the plastic so I can actually manipulate the transfer now. And what I said I'm going to do is I'm going to put painter's tape over the love you part without getting it on the heart. So that way, when I'm putting the paste down, I don't have to be as careful to not put paste on the love you parts. Can be a little more careless. I mean, if I did get any, I could still clean it off. When it's really in the middle, use paper towel will work, but if it's really close to the edge that you don't want to touch the paint, or I keep calling it paint, the tape paste because I'm using painter's tape, you can always use a Q-tip, just dip it in water and it can get into those little fine areas pretty easily. You can always wait till it dries and then use your detail tool and scrape up any little small part that still may be stuck on there. So I'm going to get some more Chalk tape. It definitely is easier to tape it with that. Okay, so I just put tape over the letters so that the letters won't go through. They won't show through on the design afterwards. Alright. Alright. Anybody who is watching, if you like the video, share the video and then comment that you shared the video. You can get put in the drawing. And I'm probably going to give, since, I don't know, if some first person to do it during a live, I think I'll just give them a free gift. Hoping that it'll start a trend. All right, I'm going to use one of the white backgrounds for this. And I'm going to do it in my scarlet red. I really want it to stand out. I love the scarlet. It should really stand out in the white. So this is the first time I've used this transfer. You do have an extra one, just because I grabbed it as soon as I could. My tape is being difficult. Probably should have waited to tape it till I put it down, but that's all right. Not huge deal. I'm gonna put it where the dots are as close to the top as possible because of the base that it's gonna be sitting in afterwards. It's a little off center, so I'm just going to lift it back up. Okay. I got a little ahead of myself with the tape, but that's okay, because I'm just pushing the tape back down. And I'm going to try not to touch the tape while I'm doing it, but if I do, it's not a huge deal. My scarlet is the new paste formula, which has the seal for your protection on the seal, so that you know you did get one of the new ones. And you'll keep the seal, it's like a styrofoam seal, you'll keep that in the lid of the container. And it's supposed to help preserve it for longer. Okay, and I'll stir it up to show you, but it really doesn't need anything with the new paste formula. Like it's, oops. I went over the edge. But it's basically it's perfect. So glad that they worked so hard on the new formula. It's their own proprietary, so they really worked hard on it. Okay, so I'm just gonna get started with the red. And I'm gonna work my work from the heart out. The way I can keep a better eye and not get distracted on the tape, or in case the tape starts to pop up on me. This is some older tape. It's got lots of little dots around the edge, so I'm just scraping it off as I go. The new paste formula feels even better than the ink if you've ever tried the ink. It's supposed to take a little longer to dry as well. But usually unless I'm doing a layer or something, I don't usually care how long it takes to dry. If I'm mixing colors, then it helps if it doesn't dry too quickly, so you can really get a good blend. You can keep going over it, which is something that the ink does allow you to do. And the new paste formula too. Okay, so let's see. Got my heart all done, and I'm going to pull it up carefully. See how it's coming. Oh, I did get one little smear where the tape fell off on me. It touched underneath as it fell off. But I can easily go through, once this dries, I'll go through with my detail tool and just clean up that one little area. Awesome. It looks pretty good. And I expect that this should take a little bit longer, and like I did the transfer a little bit higher on it just because it's got the base. And I'm going to check this to see. Yep, this is dry. So I'm rubbing my hands over it, pushing down, and it's not coming up. Not coming onto my hands either. And I don't want to use the red on it though. Because last time I used the red, and it didn't stand out as much as I wanted it to. I think I'll just go with my black. I use my black, my shimmer shadow, my black glitter sparkle, and see how that works. And I'll stir it up, even though I really don't need to. So as you can see, shimmer's the old formula, so it looks a little bit thicker than the new formula, but it goes on just as easily. Okay, so I'm gonna fuzz up this transfer. Okay, I just feel it with my fingers to make sure it's not too sticky because I'm putting it on top of chalk paste. So I don't, when I pull it up, I don't want to pull the chalk paste up. Try to get it even. Usually if you put a towel or something underneath it, I'll help it steady it so it's not rolling across your table. I'm going to put it right, try to center it right in the arrows. Okay. And I'm only going to push down the letter area. I'm not going to push down the edge because I really want to be careful not to pull up any paste below it. And I'm going to, when I pull it up, I'm going to pull it nice and slow. And make sure I'm missing any comments. All right. Oh, okay, let's see. Back on. If you ever find that your paste isn't as thin as you want it to be, or if it seems clumpy, add water. If you add too much water and you notice like it looks a little runny, just leave the cap off of the jar. When you do that, the air will help dry some of the moisture out of it. Just when you make sure you close them up before you go to bed at night. I forgot on one of mine, so the next day I had to do the opposite thing of where it was too dry and I had to add water. It's easy enough to fix, but I had just forgotten. So I've got the letters in there. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the arrows that I pushed through on the transfer better than you can see the letters that are going to end up showing in this color. So let's pull it off and see what it looks like. My water's starting to look like Kool-Aid. So I'll live the life you have imagined on top of the arrows. This is just a different take on the monthly transfer. And then really, I'll probably end up using this bucket more for all my excess chalk stuff, but can easily put flowers in it or something. Got these flowers to make a vase. I've got them sitting in a vase right now just because I'm going to be using them to make a wreath. I could dig out my glue gun for that though. Okay, I only have one other one that I was going to work on that I had pulled out tonight. And I'm sure once I get off my live and start cleaning up my area and playing with things that I will find a bunch more projects to do. But this one is, I cleaned off one side of my blackboard. I still have one on the other. And when I was cleaning this off, I usually hold it over the sink just to make it easier, and I scrub it up and then just let the water push it off and push it off easier. It's just a little bit easier. And I actually noticed because of that, I got water on this side. And so I very gently took the paper towel and dotted the water off it and went over like this afterwards and noticed it didn't take it off. So the eraser really does do the job of erasing. So if somebody splashes water on something, if you've got one displayed up by your sink, because there's little ones that say things like the dishes are looking at me, or no one else has done the dishes, stuff like that. If you have that sitting up by your sink, you don't have to worry about if it gets wet that it's going to all of a sudden just dissolve. Okay, so this one, open it up. So this transfer is different. It's a Chalk Couture board, but the transfer isn't by Chalk Couture. So pull this off. It's got that new smell. It feels different. So I'm just kind of evaluating different kinds of, I haven't evaluated different kinds of chalk paste yet. But I did buy one to try. This just feels different. It's a thinner material. The top feels more, I don't know, plasticky. But it is got the mesh transfer in it. But I'm learning that there are different grades of mesh transfer. Because of the machine I bought so I can make my own transfers, I'm trying to figure out, there's two different kinds. One is different grades. One is stickier than the other. And trying to figure out, okay, you want to use the stickier stuff on fabrics, t-shirts, stuff like that. Even though you can use the thinner stuff on it, you don't have to. It just makes it easier on yourself. All right, I don't know. I always put a towel underneath it if I've got something on there just because I don't want it to slide around. Okay, so this one just says, together we make a family. And, oh, I love my ocean mist. My ocean mist it's a light blue. Love the light blue. Okay, and let me clean off things. All right. So I'm just going to use the bottom part because this is actually designed to go. So if you can see, it's designed to go in there and just like clean the sides right off. Really swirl it up, and then same thing for the top of the jar. They just really don't want you to waste any paste. They want you to get the most out of your money. It's like about $13 for one jar of chalk paste. The shimmers are a couple dollars more, and then the ink is, I've only got a couple of inks. I think it's about the same. Or in between. I'd have to double check it. But if you click on the link for my shop, it shows all the different ones. Okay. I will use pink. Well, I do one in blue. Let's just do like the heart in a peach. Get it together. And you can usually tell as soon as you start spreading the chalk paste that, ooh, that's nice. It's the perfect consistency. If you start spreading it and then you realize, oh, it's too watery. Because if it is too watery underneath the silkscreen transfer, it'll start to bleed a little bit. If it's too thick, it'll start to dry and it may not go through the silkscreen transfer all the way. In which case, I'll show you as we pull it up. We'll just make sure. I've never used this kind of transfer from this company before, so I'll do similar to what I'm going to do when I make my own transfers. I've already started the designs for that. Because I do so much ancestry stuff, I'm really going to focus at first probably on family tree stuff. And I'll add a little bit of peach here. Okay, and I'll use my little mini. So the detail two's got the sharp plastic point to fix up things. That's what I'll use on the heart when I go to fix it, that little dot area where the tape touched it. I'll use that to clean it up once it's dry. And then the other end is just a really tiny squeegee. Usually I use the little hand squeegees because, I don't know, my hands are smaller. Just makes it easier for me. All right, so if you can see as I start to pull it up, so as you start to pull it up, you can see how things look. So if something looks like it didn't go through all the way or got stuck in the mesh screen because it was too dry, you can push it right back down immediately and do it again. And you can usually use your finger just to tap it back down, or you can use the squeegee itself. So I don't think I've been as long as I thought it would take me to do all of these. They really do go quickly. The hardest part for me still is picking out what colors I'm going to use. And I do have some watercolor tools, so I actually could use them to fill in that heart, either with a lighter color or darker color or the same color, and then put the transfer back down on it and go over it again, and it'll make a nice fine line on top, which I could do like with a darker, deeper pink or something. But transfer, not too bad. I'll let it dry and see how it looks once it gets dry. I'll slide it to the side. I'll check this one and see if it started to dry. Yeah, this is pretty dry. So I'll show you what I do with my detail tool. So that's usually what I do, like when I've done them where I've messed up, where I've touched the paste before it's too early. Oh, and I missed that I got a little bit along the edge there on the red, which I'll just take my little paper towel, get it a little wet, and just scrape off the edge. Well, not scraping off the edge, just basically rubbing off the edge. Just like an eraser, erasing it. So there's not even a hint of pink or anything left there, and it was all dry. So I'm going to take off the end and just try to clean this up, because it's the piece of tape, when I pulled it up, the piece of tape fell off the love you part that was hiding the words. And didn't touch that, and because it was still wet, it smeared a couple of them. So I'm just gonna go in and take this, and you pretty much are just like an eraser. So if you can see, I already cleaned out 2 dots. I'm just cleaning out the stuff in between where I can see the dots because they're darker. Just gives it a little more definition. So you can see where that little blob was. Now it's got the nice little dots in it. And all I did was just go around the area. Like if I wanted to erase some of these dots, I can use this. I mean, I can use the eraser too, but if I want just like one little dot, it's easier just to use this. So then just dip it in the water, wipe it off the paper towel, and that's it. That one's already okay. Not too bad. And I could have done this one either way. I could have done it sideways too. I kind of like it standing up. Oops. So those were the main things I was going to work on tonight. One of the things I did want to try though, I haven't done yet, because I made a little sticky note to myself. When I had done the black on black, like on this one where it looks like an etching in the back, which I love it. I love that it does that. I did order Shimmer Frost, which is the white glitter one. But I'm going to try, being that this is dry now, I'm going to try, well, since I got my sticky note there, so don't forget. I'm going to try white on white, just see how it looks. Oops. Use my white in a while. At first I was using white for everything. It just looks good. So when people do orders and stuff, I depending on what you order, I am giving you like a little star stick or squeegee or something as part of the pack, because you can never have enough of them, it seems like. And those are the 2 things that I needed the most at first, for the squeegee and the stir stick. So let me just mix up the white because I haven't used it in a while. But it's in good shape. Nice and creamy. Looks like Cool Whip basically. Alright, that in there. And what do I want to use in the background? I'm gonna go grab guess I could use those same arrows. I just gotta clean off my thing. Which unfortunately they're at the bottom now. Somewhere. Oops, there we go. Okay, alright. And like I said, it looks like it's almost got most of the stuff off of it. And because my water's starting to look like Kool-Aid from all the different colors I've used tonight, I'm just going to spray it down with some water and then wipe it. I want to make sure I get, the arrows are got such fine lines in them, I want to make sure I get it all out of the arrows. But if you're not sure, just hold it up. So you can see there's a little bit of a fraying at the top. I'll cut that off afterwards. Oops. Actually, I'll use, to show you, if you use Clorox wipes, basically the alcohol and stuff in them helps dry and will leave them quicker, cleans them, and helps them dry. And I was actually able to find Clorox wipes today in Price Chopper. I was surprised. They still have like the limit of 2. I only got 1 because I only needed 1. Give that a second to dry. Well, I'm giving that a second to dry. I'm gonna grab another paper towel. This is something I'm gonna work on another night, but I usually try to like give them a good 24 hours for the wax. You can do it in as little as 15 minutes, but because this is not a chalkboard, you can still chalk and ink and everything on it, but it's nice and smooth. Once I got we're nice and smooth, but if it's not, you would sand it down a little bit, and then just put the wax on it, which will help, because if I were to put the transfer down on this, it probably might pull up some of the wool when I take it off. So using the wax is basically a precaution. You can use paper towel, anything to get the wax on there. This is just a clear wax, basically any kind of furniture wax that's designed for wood would work. There are some waxes that are stained, so if I wanted to stain the wood a different color, I could do that. I can also take the chalk paste and water it down, like put it on a little plate on the side or something. Paper plate or one of the little trays if you have any of the trays. Water it down a lot and then take a paintbrush and just paint it on. And it gives you like a clear background, which I'm probably going to end up doing partially that when I get my color in so I can do my deer. It's either that or change the deer and make them like, I don't know, like a light blue or pink or light green or something like that for Easter and spring. So like when I touch it, it doesn't, I mean, I could feel the difference in the sides, and you can see the little bit of the color difference probably, very mildly. And just seal my wax up. It takes hardly any wax, and you can just like go to Lowe's or Walmart and get like a little mini wax thing. I just got a little one to start off with. You don't need a big huge jar because a little goes a long way, just like with the paste jars, a little goes a long way. Okay, so I will leave that out for 24 hours to set. You could probably do it quicker, but, and this is pretty much dry. So I'm going to put the arrows close to the edge. Smooth it down. The back part where it's sticky when I use the Clorox wipe, it's already dry, so I'm not worried about it, you know, not wanting to stick because it's wet. It'll stick even if it's wet, but make sure I get all the air bubbles out for those. And get my whites together. Okay. So, let's see my white. So we'll see if white on white looks like an etching like the black on the black does. That's kind of what I wanted to test out. And in which case, if it does, then you could pretty much will be able to do it with any color. If you paint your board whatever color you want. And I have a clear chalkboard spray, which you can basically turn anything into a chalkboard. Then you could have any color background you want and do a similar thing so it looks like a nice etching. You can get the etching cream to use on things, especially glass if you're going to be doing anything like that, because the transfers and everything, especially the little ones, will work nice on glass material. And this transfer is hanging over the edge. That's the only part that's, I want to make sure I don't have paste built up on the edge of it. Okay. Pull it up, and then so this white is brighter than the board, obviously. So I think it stands out more. than the black on the black. Remember, this is what the black on the black looks like. Now, this black had the shimmer in it, so it does have a little bit of glitter, but I think the white on the white definitely stands out, and I think that's because the board itself is not a bright white board. But I do have, another white board that I just gotten at the Dollar Tree. Let's see if I've got it right here. I do. I don't know if it's, so I'll try it on this one, because this is even a brighter white. Just see how it looks. See if it stands out like that one does. And this is what I do. I just play around with stuff and see how it looks. I'm like, oh, I like how that looks, and then turn it into usually a bigger project. But as you can see, these two boards feel different. And this is supposed to be, let me make sure. Wood wipe off. Okay. So it's, I don't think. Alright. So they're both wood wipe off boards, but I'm going to open this one and see if it feels the same. Because this one feels more like a dry erase board. Let's see if the black one feels the same. No, the black one feels like a chalkboard. So that feels more like a chalkboard. Whereas this one feels more like a dry wash. But they both say wipe off. So I'm going to try it on and see how it works. Alright. Pull this back out of the water. And just clean it up a little bit. I need to refill my water bottles, I think. And I'm just going to try to get the bulk of it off. So I'm more or less just testing out this board. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And the Clorox wipes, if you want to reuse a transfer pretty quickly, those are the best things to use. Yeah, to clean up your workspace pretty nice too. Okay. I do like how that stands out on it though. It might look nice with the red heart on top of it. Alright, so I've got that one. Sticky. It's neat, these ones have like a nice little wood thing here. So for $1, pretty good. Alright, let's see what this. Alright, I'm gonna put some more paste down. This is more of a bright white board, and I'm putting the bright white. And I mean, it is called, I believe it is called bright white for the color. Yep, bright white. The other white I ordered is a shimmer frost. So I figured that'll be perfect because I can mix them together. I could really, you can take like the shimmer frost or the white, mix it with any color to get a little bit of difference. So if I wanted like a shimmer pink, just do the shimmer frost and a pink. And if you're not sure what colors to mix together, you can always just Google color wheel. And it'll tell you which colors to mix together, which my brown for my deer hasn't been restocked, so I might end up having to do that. Okay, this looks much more like an etching. So if you can see the difference in that versus this. So it's just because the color of the board, like you can really see it on this board, but this one, it does look a lot more like an etching. I got this out, I'll just continue the etching carefully. And I'll just move it over a little bit so that the arrows aren't exactly the same. I'm just tacking it down with my finger, being that there's already paste on it, just to make sure I get it stuck on there really well. Clorox wipes are also good for cleaning up your hands and stuff. Alright, so, that's way too much paste, but it's okay if you get too much, because you just scrape it off. when you're reusing it over and over again, it can be harder to tell where you've already gone over because you've already used this transfer once and haven't cleaned it out completely. Just something to be mindful of to make sure you're going like in a certain order, so you don't end up with any gaps. I'm like, oops, I missed that arrow. But another one of the things you can do with the arrows is, if I wanted, I could have made one of the arrows like a color, even if it was like a baby blue color. It's okay to be messy too, because there we go. Right. So nice. And definitely, when I look at the two together, I can definitely see the difference. Where this looks much more like an etching, and this one, the arrows really stand out. Which is good, because that means that the white on this will really shine out. I have like a really light gray, which would show on it too. It's just because this board is an off-white. But I like that. Looks pretty good. Okay. Okay. Just looks much more like an etching. There we go. Okay. Sometimes it just stops the video. I don't know if it's my computer or if it's Facebook. I think that's it. I'm going to clean up my stuff for tonight, and then I might start trying to work on a bow, creating a bow. That'll be a challenge. Something I probably should do on a live, but being that I've not attempted it before, I'm going to try it off a live. I could throw my camera on if I'm somewhat successful. Try to please like the video, share the video, and then comment that you've shared it. Again, I should be on live every night at 7 o'clock all through February. Our group has actually a little challenge, a little team that we've created, or that I've joined in and been a part of. Everybody have a good Saturday night. We'll see what the snowstorm brings us. There's been accidents, but I don't think it's hit as far up as us yet. We'll see. So I've got to go back into the office finally Monday, because I've been working remotely for most of the month. That'll be different, but hopefully my house will stay cleaner, because I've noticed that when I work remotely, my house seems to get dirtier faster because I'm here all the time. Okay, it'll give the cats a break for me too. All right, night everybody.